As you know, there have been recent union representation election victories at Starbucks and at Amazon. At Starbucks, there now are 16 coffee shops that have been organized, and at Amazon, in a warehouse in Staten Island, where 8,000 workers work, the union recently won the election. I've been thinking about, both because I'm interested in the issue, as probably you are too, but also because I've had constant requests from the press to comment on what will now happen at Starbucks and Amazon as they begin the process of first contract bargaining. So here are my thoughts, and I raise them because what the advice and reaction I've been giving basically draws from all the core lessons in the field of conflict resolution. And I think our field has a lot to say about how the parties at Starbucks, Amazon, and in other situations can engage in productive relations, how they can adopt a problem solving approach. Now, just remember, by our law, management isn't required to agree to a first contract in these negotiations at Starbucks and Amazon. They're required to bargain in good faith. And that requires evidence of a give and take. But again, it doesn't require agreement. And in fact, given that management often adopts an adversarial approach to a newly formed union, there's sound research documenting the fact that in many cases, a first contract is never reached. Recent data shows that after a year of first contract bargaining, only 48%, let me restate it more clearly, 48% of those first contract engagements don't lead to a settlement. Only 52% reach agreement. And after 3 years or so, 30% of certified bargaining units haven't reached a first contract. So that's a sign of both the animosity management often brings to the table, but also a sign of the complexity of negotiating a first contract. So what does our field suggest? It recognizes that the parties engaged in collective bargaining have a mixed motive relationship. There are both win-win issues, to put it simply, and some win-lose issues, or issues in which in the language of Walton and McCarthy, there's distributive issues, distributive matters, and also there are integrative issues where there's the possibility of joint gains to the parties. My experience suggests, in the research I've done throughout the years, a lot of it conducted in the Transformation of American Industrial Relations project I worked on with Tom Kochen and Bob McCarthy, we observed enormous variation in what occurs in labor management relations, whether that relationship is at the first contract stage or subsequently. There's a lot of choice confronting the parties. They can engage in adversarial conflict. That conflict can be induced by the union. At the same time, it can be induced by management. Or they can adopt a more problem-solving approach. When they adopt a problem-solving approach, they can solve issues about scheduling, health and safety, lots of issues where enhanced communication between the workforce, the union, and management can lead to productive solutions. But the parties have to be open to that sort of communication. I've been encouraging managers who I've been speaking to not to view the union as an outside third party, as an invader, rather to think about why it was that workers voted for the union. And that's often because there are serious conflicts and problems and issues at the workplace. There are serious issues at every workplace, and those get manifest during organizing campaigns. So it's up to the parties. It's a complex relationship. We spend our time in our professional development courses and in basic ILR campus courses trying to teach managers, unionists, and our students who will become those parties how to promote the possibility of joint gains, how to approach negotiations in a way that allows for the emergence of win-win solutions. Our field has a lot to say about these matters, and I'm sure you, like me, will continue to watch closely what happens at Starbucks, Amazon, and in other workplaces where labor and management are sitting down to bargain contracts.